Hey, mama. So, cycle syncing has honestly been a game changer in my business. I have gone from wondering if I'm cut out to run my business and feeling like I need to burn my business down to the ground every month to realizing that my hormones are out of whack, I'm not crazy, and that it's just my period right around the corner. More than that, I've been able to make sure I lean into my creativity during the peak times in my cycle. So when I'm energized and cut back the week before and during my period to conserve my energy. Like I said, this has been honestly like a chef's kiss, the best thing ever. Now, I'm not one to gatekeep. And so I had to have my mama friend, Giana Tralongo, back on the podcast to talk about how to cycle sync your business as a mom. Gianna shares all the tea on what cycle syncing is, how it can benefit you both as a mom and business owner, tips for getting started, and so much more. Gianna is also one of the speakers at the Make Your Business Social Media Optional Audio Summit next month. She's going to be talking about email marketing, how she leverages it in her business to make it social media optional. And so this episode is going to give you a little taste of her teaching style. All right, grab your notebook and pen so you can take notes, and let's jump into today's episode. Hey, mama. Welcome to Marketing Without Socials for Moms, the go-to podcast for moms in business who want to stop relying on social media to build their business and build it in a way that fits their current season of life. I'm your host, Andrea Singletary, a wife, mama of two, and visibility strategist for moms. Each week, I'm giving you the inside scoop on how to increase your visibility, leads, and sales through podcasting, email marketing, and collaborations. Ready to truly make social media optional in your business? Grab your chai tea latte and let's dive into today's episode. All right, today on Marketing Without Socials for Moms, I am sitting down to chat with Giana Tralongo, and she is no stranger to the podcast. She was actually a guest back in episode 30, where she talked all about mom guilt, which was a really great episode and everything, so definitely go listen to it. But Giana, welcome back. Please give us an update. What's new with you and your business since we last had you on the podcast?
I'm so excited to be here again. Gosh, I can't, that feels like a lifetime ago.
Right.
I was here before. Still talking about mom guilt, still here helping moms really have the best of both worlds, the business and the social life and the personal life and the mom life. But I'm excited today to talk about cycle syncing because over the last 2 years, this has been the biggest thing that's changed my productivity, and I'm obsessed with being efficient and productive. You should see me in the pickup line at my kids' school. I'm like, we could change how this is working. This could be way more efficient.
Love that. Okay, so yes, let's dive into cycle syncing, which I'm super excited to talk about. I've been learning more about it myself and really trying to implement it in my own life and business, and I see the difference. But for those who may not know what cycle syncing is, please tell us what that is.
Sure. So cycle syncing is basing a lot of different things. Your workouts, the way that you eat your food, and your tasks for your business and for your life based on the cycle of your body, which for women is 28 days. And so often we hear menstrual cycle and we think it's just those 5 or 7 days that we have our period, but your cycle is actually the full round robin. And you have 4 phases in the cycle. And I'll give you, if it's okay, a quick little backstory of how I got to this point. So after I had my daughter, she's almost 5, and I was done breastfeeding her and my period came back, I was a mess. I was getting the period flu for a week before. Yes, this is the thing. You basically have a fever. You have the flu right before you get your period.
Oh my gosh.
And through just testing and a very long, drawn out process, just so many medical things are, I really came to find out that I had the hormones of a 70-year-old woman because of back-to-backing my kids. They're 15 months apart, and the stress of COVID and breastfeeding, like my hormones were just in the trash, basically. And so I started on this really holistic journey of how am I going to even these things out? Like, I can't be out of commission as a mom and a business owner for 2 weeks every month. Like, that's just not
Yeah.
realistic. And so I learned about cycle syncing primarily from the nutrition, workout, stress kind of standpoint. And then as somebody that has taught moms how to be productive and how to manage their time for before my daughter was born, really, I was able to take what I learned there, mush it together with what I do, and really make cycle syncing work from a productivity standpoint, too. So that's really how we ended up getting here. And for the last 2 years, I've cycle synced my tasks. For the most part, we know how it is. Life happens. Nothing is ever perfect, but it has really made such a difference in how I move in my business, how I make decisions in my business, and how
Mhm.
much more I can get done in the time that I have.
I love that. And like, even for myself, like, before I learned about cycle syncing, like, literally that week before my period would start, and I would just like, my mood would shift and I wouldn't feel like creating content and all these different things. And I kept thinking, like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? I'm like a horrible business owner. And it's like, no, girl, your period is about to start. Your hormones are out of whack. Like, it's normal that you feel this way. So you need to tap into like when you have that high energy and focus and everything before you get to this point. So that way you can chill,
Yes.
during that, I call it Shark Week and everything.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's like even just like understanding like, okay, no, you're not a horrible business owner. Like just really getting clarity on that. Like for me, that was a big deal.
Mhm.
And so one thing I would love to know is like, why is cycle syncing something we should be doing as moms and business owners? Like, I know you shared a little bit of your
Mhm.
story, but like, tell us like, why is this something we need to be doing? Because I truly believe like all moms need to be doing this.
Yes. And I think you hit the nail on the head as far as you were thinking negative thoughts about yourself that week. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
bad business owner. Honestly, during so the phase right before your period is called the luteal phase, and it's different for everybody. So I don't want to give like days and stuff, but it's about that week before
Yeah.
your period. And not only did I feel like a bad business owner, but I felt like a bad mom too. I had lower
Yeah.
patience. I was trying to operate every week in my business the same. I was more on like a week to week. Monday we do this, Tuesday we do this. And trying to do that in that week before, it makes you question everything. And when I work with people on cycle syncing, we always start with the luteal phase. And it's important because it's the validation that we need. It's the
Mm-hmm.
validation that we're not bad business owners, we're not bad moms, and a lot of times as business owners, we're very ambitious, and sometimes we need that permission to rest, to take a step back, and knowing that your body isn't meant to be pushing and to be creating and to be, balls to the wall during that week before your period and your period too. It gives you the permission to take the step back
Mm-hmm.
while also having a list of actions and things to do so you do still feel productive, right? We can't just put a pause on everything for a week and a half, but knowing, okay, I can't create content during that time. And I will tell anybody, like, it will take you 3 times as long to create content that week before your period than if you just do it all the week or two after
Mm-hmm.
your period, right? So knowing that, it gives you so much just like peace because you're not trying to put like a square peg into a circle hole by keeping up
Mm-hmm.
the same rhythm every single week. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel really powerful knowing, okay, I don't have the same cycle as a guy who's a 24-hour cycle. They're the same hormones every 24 hours. So I feel powerful knowing how to tap in during that ovulation phase when I can
Mm-hmm.
work 12 hours and it's no sweat off my back, when I can have 6 hours of sleep and I'm fine and I'm just like crushing it and killing it. Knowing how to tap into that, it does feel really powerful. And that's why I feel like it's so important for every mom and business owner to grab onto this and run with it as fast as they can.
Yes, I agree 100%. Even just like my whole mindset has shifted around it. I'm like, okay, I know what's coming. I know what I need to do, leading up to that and everything. And then I can kind of like step back in certain areas during those phases and not feel bad about it, not feel guilty about it, because I did the bulk of the things I needed to do ahead of time, like especially tapping into that creativity and everything. And so, yes, it's very empowering. And it was just mind blowing for me. Like, oh, girl, you're not crazy. It's all good. Like,
Yes, you're not crazy. This is actually your hormones' fault. You can blame them. You just got to ride the wave.
yes, exactly. So I would love to hear, like, do you have a client example that, you're comfortable with sharing, like how
Mhm.
cycle syncing has really benefited them?
Mhm. So I just had well, I guess it's been a couple weeks now. I just did my Work Smarter workshop, which is all about cycle syncing and really like
Mhm.
honing in. And I had two women go through it and they both came back to me and they were mind blown. They were like, I can't believe that I was able to take enough from this free workshop to go in and now I feel like a totally different person. Like I feel like I understand now exactly kind of what we've already touched on. I understand for these 10 days, this is exactly what I need to do, exactly what I need to get done, get in, get out, and move on. And then these 10 days, this is what I need to focus on. And one of the women that went through, she actually was thinking about signing up to work with me. This is kind of a silly story, but she said, and she came back and she's like, this is very weird for me to say, but I don't think I need you the way that I thought I did because the workshop and implementing these cycle syncing changes made
Yeah.
such an impact that I don't need this additional work. And I'm like, bummed because I like you. I want to work together, but also like, go. That's great. It doesn't have to be this whole complicated process. She also has a chronic illness. And so she's like, now I can take knowing how to work with my chronic illness, knowing my hormones and mesh the two together. And so even when I have, like a situation arrives with my illness and I have to adjust things, I know what to do versus again, just trying to do the same thing every single week. So that's like a silly story to tell, but it's also validating that cycle syncing is something we've always had the power to tap into. It's just now all of us are starting to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, that is so amazing. Because it makes a world of a difference. Um, I know that something you talk about too is like cycle syncing, supporting with time management. So, can
Mhm.
you tell us a little bit about that?
Mhm. So there again, we've kind of already touched on it, but I'm very very planned out as far as so let me just really quick. So the four phases of your cycle are the follicular, which is right after you have your period, the ovulation, and the ovulation, you will know it because that's when you look in the mirror, you're like, oh my God, I look so good. I feel so good. Wait, I think I could go run a marathon. Like, wait, I think I want to build like 40 more things in my business because like,
Yes.
oh my God, I can
You
take
have
over the
all the
world. Like,
ideas. Yeah.
yes, like that is the vibe. Like when you are ovulating, that's when you look at your husband different. Like, that's a good time. That is a
Yeah.
good 6 days in your month. You're like, wow, normally he annoys me so much, but like, I love him so much right now. And then after the ovulation phase is when we hit the luteal phase, which just all comes crashing down.
Like, stop breathing like that.
Exactly. Like, can you not sit next? It's also, I have a lot of rules around the luteal phase. It's also when you feel like a crap business owner, you feel like you can't do anything right. When somebody says no to you, you take it so personally when normally you don't. And
Mhm.
what's great about knowing that is that then you can change your thoughts and you can be like,
Yeah.
okay, listen, I'm luteal phase. Like, of course, I'm feeling all the feels. Um, but when it comes to time management, what happens is a lot of times we try to fit all the things in the week, right? If you're living week to week,
Mhm.
you're like, this week I need to do this. This week, every Monday I need to create content. Every Tuesday I need to record a podcast episode. But when you break it down, your follicular phase, you're going to plan everything out. You're going to outline what the rest of your month is going to look like. You're going to outline your content. You're going to outline your podcast episodes, your emails, your blogs. You're going to look ahead at some of the ideas you had later in your cycle and be like, well, okay, maybe I was just a little wilding out because I was luteal. We're going to cross that off the list, right? We're gonna wait on that one. Or like, oh, this actually was a good idea. Let me see where I can fit it in to take action. Because follicular, that's where your brain is. You're planning things out. You're making your goals for the next 28, 29 days. And then ovulation is creation, as we kind of already said. That's when you want to be forward facing. If you're going to do Instagram lives, if you have to record modules, if you have to do in-person stuff and you're normally like, you don't love in-person stuff, great time to do it because you have more energy, your social battery is higher, your creativity is bubbling up. Between the end of my follicular and mid ovulation, that's when I'm trying to create all of my content or at least outline it enough that it becomes like plug and play for later
Yes, yes.
on. And then luteal is when you think of time management, luteal is when you're in your nesting vibes. And so what I recommend for people is if you have house projects, and I don't mean like resurfacing the floors, but I mean like, man, I really need to clean out my pantry and like reorganize it. Or I need to go through my kids' clothes because they've grown 2 sizes and there's a bunch of stuff in their drawers. That is a great time during the luteal phase if you still want to feel productive to knock some of those things off your list. It's a great time. This is like a great piece that you should write down or like run with it. It's a great time to have your like house admin day, which we all dread, but like calling and making appointments, scheduling the oil changes, catching up on bills, like the stuff that always gets put to the bottom of the list because you'd rather like lick the sidewalk than do that kind of stuff. Like that's a great time to do during your luteal phase because you can do it wrapped in a blanket on the couch kind of thing. So from a time management aspect, so I went on a tangent on this, but I love talking about it. So from a time management standpoint, it's plugging and playing. Instead of looking at things week to week, it's looking at that whole 28 to 30 days and plugging and playing that way. Even if that means you might go a week and a half without working on content. But that doesn't matter if during the earlier part of your cycle, you scheduled it all out. So looking at it like that versus week to week, it is a mindset shift to do that, especially if you're like corporate mindset where it was like very structured week to week. But it is worth it because your workload will feel much more manageable when it's spread out that way.
I love that. And that breakdown is very helpful. Even has like my mind going like, oh, okay, I can make these changes here and there. It's really good. So for a mom who wants to get started with this, like how would you recommend she get started, like making it as simple as possible? Because for some people, like really like shifting their mindset around it, or even like you said, looking at the full 28 to 30 days, it can be a lot. It can feel overwhelming. So what do you recommend for getting started?
So I recommend focusing on the luteal phase and the follicular phase and then not really worrying about the rest for now. So if you're going to take like these two pieces from this podcast, this is what I say. So luteal phase, my number one rule for you is do not make any decisions about your business during the luteal phase. Don't make investments during the luteal phase. Don't decide to start a new don't start to create a new program or decide you're going to start a podcast. That stuff gets put on a list. And when you come back around, you can really decide what you're going to do on those things. Don't burn down your business. Don't make any business decisions during that time because you are making emotional, not logical decisions. And then use that time for your nesting vibes. Use that time to rest. Use that time to start to slow down without coming to a complete stop. And then the follicular phase, so right after your period is over, that's when I really want you to think about planning. So think about the week after my period, planning. The week after my period, the week right before my period, no planning, no decisions, nothing. So those are the two places to start, and you'll find the rest will sort of fall into place after that.
That makes sense. Yeah, I love that. It's so good. So I know you have a freebie for listeners called Work Smarter Cycle Syncing for Sustainable Success. And I
Mhm.
think you talked a little bit about the workshop already, but tell us a little bit more about it and why we should download this workshop.
So the workshop, as I said, it's so good that people decided they didn't need to work with me after it. So maybe it's not the best freebie, but no, I think this is like information that just can't be gate kept. Like it has to be out
Yeah.
there. So the workshop really walks you through a lot of the things that we talked about here, but also it breaks things down so much for each phase of the cycle. It talks
Mhm.
about what tasks, specific tasks make sense to do literally. And there's a workbook that goes along with it so you can follow along based on your responsibilities in your home and your business.
Mhm.
Excuse me, but it breaks it down so specifically so that you can really take that workbook and reset your schedule. And then it walks through if you don't track your cycle to use that doesn't sell your data. So it's a really good one to use. It has recipes, it has workouts, and it's just really, really pretty and relaxing when you open it. So that's in there. And then toward the end, it gives space for you. And I love doing my workshops like this, even though it's not live, it's recorded. If you block an hour and you follow along through the workshop, you'll walk away with your own personalized plan. So that's what I really love about it is you don't have to go back and look anything up. You have your workbook. Depending on where you are in your cycle, you can really start implementing what you learn immediately. And that's what we need because we don't have time for other research or other things to do after
Yeah.
we spend an hour on a workshop.
Yes, I love that. I'm gonna actually go download that as soon as we get off this call.
Perfect.
But yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. And
Of course.
yeah, you guys go download it. That's all I have to say. So one question I love to ask my guests is who is one coach or mentor who's had a major impact on your journey as an entrepreneur?
Oh, that's so hard. There's so many.
Okay, I'll give you two.
Okay. Okay. Okay, let me say this. So I will say one, but before I say that, I have found, and especially in the last year, that women and moms specifically, like yourself, like Kay, like some of the other women that I've worked with, where we're kind of all in the same boat. We're not necessarily like making more money than each other or like
Mhm.
like so many far steps, but we're kind of all at the same level, but we're all really good at our specific thing. I have
Mhm.
found that working with that group of moms and entrepreneurs has fulfilled me more than anything else because it's like your own little community and you're really getting to use people like next week you and I are working together and I'm so excited because I know you're so good at what you do and that excites me because we're kind of all in it together but using each other for like our best skills. So
Mhm.
and I truly mean that sincerely because I didn't do that so much at the beginning of being a business owner. And over the last year and a half, I have. And I feel the difference in like surrounding myself with those people. Um, and then one of the very first coaches I ever had, her name is Nina. And I don't even know that she takes on new clients anymore. But she is the first person that like believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And I think a lot of
Mhm.
times we need that. We know what we're good at, but we need that hype squad behind us. Like, no, you really are good at what you do. You really can
Yeah.
do this. The one that like when we are in our luteal phase and we want to burn it down are the people that are really cheering us on. And I don't
Mhm.
know that I would still have a business today if it wasn't for her because she also called me out on my baloney. And I think that's really important too.
Yes.
So that was a very long answer, but I am such a firm believer that support in this online space is a necessity. Not all the time. I don't believe you have to have a coach all the time to grow, but I do believe that getting support along the way in the specific way that you need it is what is allows you to be sustainable, keeps you going, keeps you learning. And so I think it's one of the most important things we can do.
Yes, I agree. Like what you said too, especially like just that close knit community, like even doing that mini mind with you, like
Mhm.
that was just so like eye opening, mind blowing for me. I was just like, oh my gosh, yes, I needed this. And I love your approach. Like you're very direct, straightforward,
Yeah.
don't sugarcoat nothing. And I love that. Like just be straight up with me. Like I don't need you to
Mhm.
tiptoe around and just be like, no,
Right.
Andrea, like don't do that. Like,
Yep, that's me.
yeah. So I agree so much. And then I absolutely love Kay. Like
Mhm.
she gets me all the way together all the time. So
Right, and I think sometimes we've been in the mindset, this is my soapbox for 1 second, that we have to invest $5,000 a month to have a great business transformation, when at when what really matters, and this comes into the cycle syncing too, is knowing what your priorities are, knowing what you need help with, and finding the person that is gonna support you in the way that you need to be
mm,
supported. It doesn't have to be a $5,000 a month investment to get you to where you wanna go, when there's so many women out here that are so like niched in and good at what they do that they can get you a
mm.
faster transformation in a week than you could in a 6-month mastermind. And I think
Yep.
that's the people that I've surrounded myself with. Thanks to your community and the social media detox, all of that has given me the right people around me. And I would rather give another mom my money than not a mom my money.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much, Gianna.
You're
This was
welcome.
such a good conversation.
It was.
Yes, I love talking about this and I learned so much. But before we get off, please share with listeners where they can connect with you and learn more about working with you.
The best place to find me is on Instagram at Giana Tralongo. Please come in my DMs if you listen to this and tell me like what your biggest takeaway was. I love being in the DMs more than pretty much anywhere else. So that's where you
Yes.
can find me.
All right. Well, I will make sure to link all of that in the show notes. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Hey, Mama. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang with me. I would love to keep the conversation going. So head to mamaturnmompreneur.com/marketing without socials to join my email community. I share even more tips and strategies for building a business that doesn't rely on social media and one that fits your current season of life, as well as more behind the scenes of mom and business life. All right, Mama, that's it for today, but I'll catch up with you again next week.